true.
Don't label us left or right. Our American. Not looking for a war, but we came to fight. Our American. Somebody's gotta stand up. Stand up. Somebody's gotta do what's right. We're rising 'cause we're fed up. Got our house in order and got yours in sight.
Well, good morning, everyone. This is quite a day, really is. I'm trying to figure out what's going on in America and what people are going to do about it, but apparently it's going to burn to the ground. It's going to go down from within. That's what's going to happen. And I got to tell you something. Yesterday, Derek Chauvin was pronounced guilty. I mean, it's probably one of the worst verdicts ever, next to OJ. And the reason I come up with that is because the jury was not sequestered. People know who the jury was. The jury went in that room. I guarantee you that jury went in that room and said, if we find him anything but guilty, we're going to be dead. Our houses are going to be trashed. Our family's going to be threatened. I live in America, and that is just so totally outrageous that's where we are today. And liberals are okay with it. And here's the worst part. After the crowds got what they wanted, they still go out and just start destroying things. When are we going to let the thugs? The Chinese have to be on the side laughing their asses off because they're saying we are watching America destroy itself, and they set it up with COVID and all the rest of it. And I got to be honest with you, it's really disheartening to watch to watch America right now. And the white liberals, those actually with privilege, the white liberals with privilege. I'm talking about Hollywood and the rest of them, where they're born and they got money in the bank before they're even born. Their parents send them to liberal colleges where they're indoctrinated because apparently, as I said last few weeks, conservatives don't care. And the judge said any conviction probably be overturned due to Maxine Waters. Well, he should have called a mistrial right away. But everyone's being threatened. It's not that hard to find out where people live anymore. And we are allowed, the liberals in charge is where it really is. And the media is putting gasoline on fire like never before. And what are they doing? They are allowing the thugs to run the show. Now, I have to tell you, I'm watching some of this, and I would love these same thugs to point out. Let's do this. Let's go out there and point out. It's like bumper stickers. Let's go out there and let's put Trump signs in the front yard of where the rich liberals live. Because they've been instructed to go after anything that is because we're all racist. So it's like putting bumper stickers on on liberals' cards and say, we love Trump or something like that. Maybe that's what they ought to do. Well, let's go to these liberals' areas and, if we'll set it up, we'll put the signs in the yards and we'll let the thugs go there and burn them down. Because that's where we are today. This is far worse than what the same Democrats have done with KKK and Jim Crow laws. There's no reason for anything. There's no, it's like the Georgia laws that they just passed, the voting laws. All that happens is somebody on the left has to say, well, this is worse than Jim Crow. Back to the Jim Crow days. And and the media doesn't do an investigation. They just go out there and just go along with it, and that's it. That's what they do. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Folks, I'm telling you, if we don't do something soon, we can't even show up for elections. I mean, really. We are Germany, watching our country go to hell, being run by the very people who are the worst for our country. They don't give a damn about the Constitution. They certainly don't care about justice. And I guarantee you, most of the people watching the show right now that are Republicans agreed with Martin Luther King because that was the Democrats pulling that crap. This is what's really bizarre. When you get rid of history, then nobody knows where to go back to learn from. They just don't. If you really want to here's the history. Back when Democrats had the KKK, pushed the Jim Crow laws and all that stuff, and they used to, look at back in Mississippi. Those were Democrats back then. Those weren't Republicans. Those were Democrats. But you wouldn't know it was Democrats. You would think it was white, and it was white supremacist. And for some reason, the media and the left has done a fabulous job at convincing idiots that the left, the KKK was about Republicans. They have no idea. They don't know their history. It's really sad. Now, I have to say something about political horrors. I have more problems with that than probably anything. But I want you to see this little exchange. Now, the woman who's going to have the exchange here, that's not it. The woman who's going to have the exchange here used to be a police chief. Obviously, another political whore. Well, of course they don't want to see the body camera. But she was a good child. I read that. It's like, what? She was an honor student. There's a lot of honor students in jail. White and black. All you have to do is, for some reason, the idiots on the left think that if you're 16 years old, you're not capable of mayhem. You're not capable of doing things, and you can still be a good student. People just don't get it. Well, yeah, you're right. That's what they're showing. But I want to show you what a real political whore is. This woman used to be the chief of police. And Jim Jordan, one of our favorites, Jim Jordan is going after her. Because she's part of the problem. Now, she's not defending police officers. Because it's more, see, this is it. On the left, it's more important to win over more idiots on the left, thugs and the rest of them, so you can advance. Look what Maxine Waters did. Maxine Waters goes to Minneapolis, stirs it up, should be a reason for mistrial. No mistrial yet. Probably great reason for future issues there. You know, it's going to be an appeal, of course. And it should be set aside because the trial was unfair. Because why in the world, of all places, they didn't move the venue? Probably because no other city wanted it. But they didn't move it, and they didn't sequester the jury. Why even have a trial? It was over before it was over. That's where we live right now? That's the American state. That's the United States I live in? It's sad. It really is sad. But I'm gonna show you this exchange between Jim Jordan and I can't remember her name offhand. Val Demings. And I'll just leave it at that. I'm not going to say more. I'll let them show you here.
Last week, the Democrats started off the week with one of our colleagues from Detroit saying no more policing. We just heard the gentleman from Rhode Island say the Democrats haven't talked about defunding the police.
No, that's not what I said.
One of their members said
we haven't talked
no
about
more
it.
policing. No more policing. And let me just, the Democrat-run cities, New York City cut $1 billion from its police department's budget and saw a 97% increase in shootings. Los Angeles cut $170 million from its budget, saw an 11.6% increase in homicides. Austin, Texas, $150 million cut, 50% spike in homicides. Portland, Oregon, a $12 million cut, eliminated 3 police units. Shootings went up 173%, murders up 25%. I would bet the people, the residents of those communities, think this amendment is relevant, for goodness sake. Democrats started the week last week saying get rid of police. They ended the week with one of our colleagues, Democrat colleagues, being admonished by a judge for the ridiculous things that they said. And somehow the gentleman from North Carolina's amendment's not relevant? Are you kidding me? This is as relevant as it gets, as timely as it gets, and I hope we can actually agree on something and adopt the gentleman's amendment. With that, I yield back my time.
Mr. Chairman,
Gentleman yields back for what purposes the gentlelady from Florida seek recognition.
move to strike the last word.
Gentleman is recognized.
Mr. Chairman, I want to make it quite clear that this amendment is completely irrelevant. I served as a law enforcement officer for 27 years. It is a tough job. And good police officers deserve your support. You know, it's interesting to see my colleagues on the other side of the aisle support the police when it is politically convenient to do so. Law enforcement officers risk their lives every day. They deserve better, and the American people deserve. I have the floor, Mr. Jordan. What, did I strike a nerve? Law enforcement officers deserve better than to be utilized as pawns. And you and your colleagues are ashamed of yourself.
The gentlelady will suspend and the clock will be stopped. I want to admonish members. They must not interrupt someone who has the time.
Mr. Chairman,
You
can I ask a
simply
question?
can't shout out. If you think that someone is saying...
I agree.
Mr. Jordan, you don't know what in the heck you're talking about. You know nothing about what law enforcement
I know
officers
about my
do.
motive.
And you're using them as pawns because it serves your ridiculous political purpose.
Val, everyone must suspend. I am making the point. No one may shout out when someone else has the time. Not Mr. Gomert,
Question, Mr. Chairman.
not Mr. Jordan, nobody.
Not Mr. Cicilline.
Not Miss.
Not Miss
He
Demings.
didn't do that. But nobody
did.
Not Mr. Jordan.
Yeah, not Miss. Not Miss
Nobody.
Cicilline. Okay, no, but I agree with that. But
And how do we,
Everybody.
I have a
It
question.
was simply. There is no question. Nobody may shout out.
when you give a speech, Mr. Chairman,
Nobody
about
may-
motives and questioning motives,
This
and our motives
is
are questioned,
emotionally
how do we
charging
address
for
that?
me.
The rules
because
allow
I
a
was law
request
enforcement
of words
I have
when an
watched
inquiry.
them live and die, and you know nothing about that, and to utilize them as political
Mr. Chairman,
pawns.
I have a point of inquiry.
Off.
People
Chairman,
will
I have a
address
point of
comments to
inquiry.
the chair.
Mr. Chairman.
The rules do not permit shouting out when someone else has the time. The only thing you may do when someone else has the time is you may raise a point of order if you think it proper, and the chair will then rule on the
Point of order, Mr. Chairman.
The gentleman will state his point of order.
So you gave us a lecture on people questioning our motives. When someone questions our motives, how do we address it when they're in the act of
It is
questioning our
not a
motives?
point of order.
Yes, it is.
That is not a point of
Mr.
order.
Chairman, may I continue, please?
That is not a point of order. Ms. Dennings has the time, and the clock will resume. Gentlelady's
Mr.
recognized.
Chairman, I'm glad to hear that my colleagues on the other side of the aisle
Well, there you go. There's your government. And you got the political hordes going strong out there, which is what they do. And we are allowing it. It's really very sad. That's where we are today. And we better start understanding that it's a mess. And I'm going, look what you said here. Open your eyes, America. Okay, I'm seeing what... How do you cope with difficulties that race creates for you or for others? Is there anything else you would like to say before we do our closing round in our circle? What can you take away? Prejudice is burden that... Oh, good God. I have a question. How old's your child? How old is your child? Is that really and truly is he 10? Is that really and truly something 10-year-olds should be talking about? I mean, come on. And you know what? You're in St. Charles area where it's much more conservative, but this is where the conservatives better get after dead asses and start putting the right people on these school boards and make sure the school boards are really people that you agree with. Because right now, we have given up our children. We're giving up our children by the fact that we're allowing liberals to indoctrinate to them. We have given up on our children because we're taking all this money from the government and not saying anything and doing nothing and leaving our freedom and liberties down at the lowest level we can because it doesn't matter. You are forcing your children to have to pay taxes beyond anything you and I could ever imagine. And we're going to sit by and never show up for the damn elections? Good God, people. No wonder I lose it. I'm dead serious. I get so upset by this because we are allowing... He's in middle school. We are allowing the left to run the show. They're in the cities right now, burning them down, causing havoc left and right. And the leaders sit by. Even our idiotic governor back last year when we had all that stuff going on, he sat on his hands and did nothing. And it was Republicans that didn't know what the hell was going on and reelected the jackass. It is unbelievable. And right now, for next year, since Roy Blunt says he's going to retire, Roy Blunt is not voluntarily retiring. He knows there's no way he can get reelected. He knows that. And so it's like, well, your time is up. Who's the next political horde that's going to jump in there for the Republican establishment? Who's it going to be? Eric Schmidt jumps in, and I look at my Real Republican, and I see some people there trying to post it. Oh, Eric Schmidt is this wonderful guy. Eric Schmidt is another political whore. Sorry. Let's get somebody that's proven himself. They go out there. This is what people have to understand about politicians. That's why I do this show. They go out there and they play this game of publicity, and they know that the voters are not going to vet them by what they do. They're going to vet them by what they're told. Why do I spend so much time attacking my own party? Because it's my own party that's full of hypocrites. I have to tell you, I respect, you're not going to like this, I respect the people on the left more than the people on the right. And here's why. Because they are doing something. Do I like what they're doing? Hell no. But as far as what they're doing it. In all these cities, they've got Democrats out there in droves. We start something, we can't get 20 people to show up. We have an election, and people say, well, I'm not going to vote. I didn't know it was this is something that was said the other night at the Republican Club. People were saying, I didn't know it was an election. Do they not get their mail? The first thing I thought of was what? A lot of these people, they get the mail. I mean, all these people get mail, a postcard that says, there's an election on April 6th. So April 6th shows up, and they go, oh, I don't even know what it's about. I'm not going to go. So, Ronnie, I agree with you. Democrats are buffoons. And I have to tell you something. The black people on the left, mainly the thugs. Well, not the thugs. Let's say there's black people there. I don't think they know where to go. I know one thing. If they were to, yeah, you're right. We can't even get someone to run. That is so right. We can't even get someone to run. People stand around and they go, well, I'm retired now. I'm going to enjoy my life. I don't get, why don't we just put this in the terms that's true? I don't give a damn about my kids. I mean, really, that's what it amounts to. I don't care about my kids. Let's just say it the way it is. You don't care about your kids. You don't care about their future. You don't care if they go bankrupt. Some of you people are going to be alive when all of a sudden China comes in and you don't believe it's going to happen. I do. But when China comes in and says, all right, it's time to collect, you're just going to go, wow, it's too late. It's too late. The Chinese want to collect. I'm telling you, folks, I'm devastated that we have allowed this to happen. I really am. It hurts me that people just stand around and do nothing. And you're right, China is coming. Don't make no mistake about it. They are watching us right now before our very eyes, people. They're watching us tear ourselves apart. They are. Hi, Jamelia. How you doing? I honestly don't understand how people could just sit by and let it happen. Yes, they're teaching the critical race theory. What the hell are you people waiting for? I didn't know it was an election. God, I just woke up yesterday. But I'm mad as hell. I'm mad as hell. Now I'll go on with my life. Show up? Run for office? No, we're not doing that. We're just going to watch our country dissolve right in front of our eyes. Right in front of our eyes. Isn't it great? People get mad at me for going after my own party. Who in the hell else is going to do anything about it? You think the liberals are going to do anything about it? There's one thing that most Republicans have in common with the left. They have no desire to help the few of us that want to do something. If you claim to be a conservative and you're sitting on your hands doing nothing, you might as well be helping the left. Honestly, this is what I see. I'm a little weird. This is what I see. I will get you here, Dino. Are you calling the right number? I don't think you are. Dino, call, let me make sure I got the right number here. Yeah, 636-344-0003. That should come here. So, oh, is that it there? Here, I'll call you, Dino. Let's do that. I'm just really wanting to find out. Here, it's my friend Dino from Pennsylvania. I'm just livid right now. I do not understand how we can sit around and do nothing and not even show up for elections and say, wow, this has got awful. Next. You there, Dino? Are you there, Dino? I don't know what's going on here. Let me double check everything, make sure it's right. Okay, try it again. Are you there, Dino? I don't know, my friend. I don't know. Let me go here. I did have, well, I don't know. Dino, why don't you try calling me at 636-344-0003? I have no idea why it will come on, because I definitely would like to talk to you. So I'll hang up and you try calling me and see if that'll work better. I have no idea. We'll do that and try it. But anyway, new conservative board members told she was elected by uneducated and bigot. Well, of course. The left has won the argument. In the schools. In the very schools. We're going to try this again. All right. Good morning. You there, Dino?
I am here. Good morning.
Good morning. How you doing, buddy?
Well, it's, normally in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, it's 74 and sunny, but today it's snowing. Go figure.
It snowed here yesterday.
I know. Well, I don't want it. I'm going to give it back to you. You can have it.
It came from Kansas.
Flowers are blooming. I'm cutting grass. I've already put away all the winter garb, and it's all good. So, how's things going in your part of the world, my conservative friend?
Well, let's put it this way: we had an election last week, and we ran these people for school board, and a grand total of 8.2% of the voters showed up. That means that the conservatives that you and I are trying to go out there and grab, they kept their happy asses at home. They're okay with the schools teaching our kids garbage, indoctrinating our kids into the leftist way of life. So when your kid comes home, not you, when their kids come home, I want them to be shocked and go, wow, this is amazing. I can't believe they're coming home with that. Here's the topper. You'll love this, Dino. The chair of the Republican Central Committee in our county gave money to two of the NEA-loving members because they said this is a nonpartisan election.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't surprise me. I call it, excuse me, it's part of the normalcy bias. It's never going to happen to you. It's never going to happen to me, not in my community, not in my street, not in my school district. I don't have to do anything. Just sit on your couch, eat Doritos with a remote in one hand and your bag of Doritos in the other hand, and just watch as our country implodes. And do nothing.
Yep.
Seriously, do nothing, because the government will provide for you, and everything will be just fine. It is the most disgusting and heart-wrenching thing I've seen. I spend every day talking to people, educating people, trying to get them involved. Our group has grown to over 1,000 people in less than 4 months. I've got a lot of interest. And in fact, I'm meeting with some people from D.C. this weekend. It's like the modern-day Tea Party movement. They've heard me speak. They've read my stuff. They've heard me. I go to all these town hall meetings, and I just rip our state representatives a new one, and our state senators. Anywhere there's a town hall meeting, you can guarantee you're going to see my face, and I'm going to have my well-memorized talking points to go after these rhinos. Because I just, what? If I don't keep swinging, I'm never going to get a hit, and I'm not going to sit on the damn couch and watch this country implode. It's sickening. I'm telling you, it is. I don't know what more needs to happen. I mean, you can go from one end of the country to the next, from the border all the way up to Canada, from Portland all the way down to Miami, and nothing is good. Nothing that is happening is good. Yesterday, I called my congressman, who is, I accuse him of being missing in action. His name is Guy Rutschenthaler. If anybody knows him, put an APB out for him, because he's like missing in action. I've called his office 12 times. I've written to him more than probably that many times, just trying to get an audience with the gentleman. But he's on Newsmax, and he's on GoDaddy, and he's on Fox, and he's got his $1 million smile ear to ear with his well-memorized talking points from the establishment, and he talks like he's running for president. The man will not return my phone call. And simply stated, when I got a hold of his chiefs of staff, Mr. Nate, nice guy, I said to him, I said, after about an hour of discussion, I said, Ned, I'm going to give you a little hint. He said, what's that? I said, pack up your desk. I said, and start moving out early. I said, because the fact of the matter is, you guys don't have a friggin' clue what's going on. I said, do you think the Republicans are going to show up in the polls on 2022? You honestly think they're going to show up? I said, when we need leadership from the Republican Party, when we need leadership to come in here and talk to the Republican electorate, you guys on Newsmax. I mean, all day long, people are saying, I'm not going to vote. Piss on it. Why go vote? Who cares? I was disenfranchised the last time.
You know what?
Dave, this is really...
Why make a difference anyway? Because, they show up. They don't know what the hell they're voting for more anyway. I mean, it's too much trouble. Look, when in Missouri, I don't know how they do it there. When there's an election, the board, the county clerk sends out a postcard telling them there's an election this day, and this is where you vote. And still, after once the election hits, they go, I didn't know there was an election.
Exactly.
Now, what do? They blame government then. They blame government, and they go, well, they need to move the elections. No doubt, they need to move them. But that is no excuse when they send you a postcard saying there's an election, and you drive. Here's one. You drive around and you see all the signs out there that says, hey, this person's from Fox School District or whatever it is. If you don't know there's an election, you are an idiot. I'm sorry. Anyone that calls himself a concerned citizen and is a freaking idiot if you didn't even see that. And you know what? I'm going to forgive you. Not you, but I'm going to forgive them. Let me tell you why. Because if you were caught dead in the water this time, it's time to get off of it and say, I better wake my happy ass up before our country is down. I don't care what you did yesterday. I'm not too pleased with it. But today is the day you start over and say, I'm in. I got to start doing something. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. No. Listen. I'm totally in agreement with you. Totally in agreement with you. The $64,000 question is, how do we get them to take notice? You know what I mean? You're right. When you start seeing all those signs going up on every corner, you got to think to yourself, oh my, something's going on. I got to share with your audience something that's going on in Pennsylvania. We've got a Republican state House and Senate, and we unfortunately have a Democratic governor who has been, whatever you call it, whatever you want, it doesn't matter. I mean, he closes down the state because somebody told him the COVID virus is kicking up, and he has the authority. He can shut down commerce for 90 days if he wants to. No, but he doesn't have to prove that COVID is increasing its diagnosis or not. So we have a referendum on the ballot for May 18th, okay? A referendum where the electorate, us, we can vote on this. And number one thing is, by voting yes, we limit the governor's authority to 21 days for him to declare a state of emergency, right? And then the second piece of the referendum is you vote yes, and after the 21 days, the state legislature then determines whether or not that state of emergency needs to be continued. So we're kind of taking some of the power away from the governor, right? The third piece has to do with race and ethnicity. And I'm not going to go into all the particulars about that, but the bottom line is it's ultimately an attack on our religious freedoms, and you should vote no on that. Well, I have been to committee meeting after committee meeting after committee meeting, and they've already got the poll cards that they're handing out at the polling places that say, yes, yes, yes. And I go nuts. I'm like, why are you doing this? Why are you not voting yes, yes, no? And, they said because the cards are already printed up. Well, throw them away and do the right thing. The Republican Party in the state of Pennsylvania, in the House and the Senate, they're no better than Democrats in most cases. That's my biggest fight is with the establishment Republicans in the state of Pennsylvania.
Well, yeah.
They
But
voted in October of 2019 this thing called Act 77. All but two voted for it. And it gave the authority and the right to have mail-in ballots. I don't know if you ever listened to any of Trump's speeches.
Okay, I
but
want to stop. Wait, I want to stop
Yeah.
you just for 1 second. There's a couple things you said that still frost me. You know, I don't know where in the Constitution where it says anything about the fact that you can shut down businesses over a virus. And so I'm going to question those so-called Republicans. Why in the world they take it upon themselves? Why aren't they just saying there's nothing in the Constitution that says you can shut anything down? There's nothing there. You don't have that right. So I agree that's better, but this is where we are. It's always the lesser two evils, and I really have a serious problem with all that stuff. So I think we probably agree on that, but we have to start getting Republicans in. They're going to say, wait a minute, that has nothing to do with the Constitution. Would you agree with that?
Yes, absolutely. It's unconstitutional what he's doing. He has no authority or no power to close down commerce for 90 days, and that's what he has done. And I mean, I've got friends that are in business. They're in the restaurant business. They're in the fitness center business. And I mean, their biggest fear right now is that the governor is going to close down something again. What's that? And that he's going to shut down the state again. And these people they've already mortgaged everything that they've got an asset for. And if they shut it down again, they're out of business. I've seen more small to medium-sized businesses in my state go out of business because of what this governor has done.
Oh, that's happened
and
everywhere.
There's no justification for it.
Right.
I just want to share one more thing with your listening audience. It's something about Act 77. Again, I said they voted on it in October of 2019, right? And this is what we gave up. You know, when you go to the polling places, and you used to be able to just pull one lever, and all the Democrats that were on the ballot, you would vote for them. You remember that?
Say that again now?
I said when you would go to the polling places, you used to be able to just pull one lever, and all the Democrat candidates were automatically voted for.
Yes.
Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that's what my grandmother used to do. She didn't give a shit if Hitler was on the ballot. If he was Democrat, she's voting for him, right?
Yep.
So what the Republicans did, the Republicans said, well, here's what we're going to give up. We want the Democrats to look down the ballot and vote for each one of these things. So we're going to take that provision that would normally allow them to throw one lever and vote for all the Democrats. We want that to be taken off the voting machines.
Right.
And in exchange, what we gave up was mail-in ballots, being able to count the votes 3 days after the election, and being able to send in your ballot 50 days before the election, with these lock boxes and everything else. So we gave up one provision and gave them the right to mail in ballots.
Did I say
Now,
more?
I don't know if did you ever listen to any of Trump's speeches? He pretty much told you that mail in ballots was going to be the biggest fraud in election history.
Absolutely.
And he was right. And Pennsylvania was a friggin' nightmare. I mean, Philadelphia, Allegheny County, and in Philadelphia, those two pieces, it was a nightmare.
Yep.
And the reason that they wanted 3 more days to count the ballots is because if it were close, and I don't know if you remember this because you're living in Missouri.
I remember
but here
that.
in Pennsylvania, when I went to bed, Trump was ahead by 700,000 votes.
Yep.
When I woke up, he was down by 12,000. Explain that to me. And then they had 3 more days to find more ballots to make it even worse.
To make more ballots.
So, I mean, yeah, they wherever they were in the magical basement of creating ballots for Joe Biden. And it's funny that all the ballots they found, none of them were for Trump. But my point is that the Republicans voted in favor of Act 77, allowing all of this to happen. And when I challenge them, they still stand firm that it was the right thing to do. I've had more than one conversation with my elected officials and elected officials around me. Some of them actually out of the side of their mouth saying, maybe we made a mistake here. Yeah, you think you did, but they're holding water for the establishment leadership because that's where their bread's buttered.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. You know, they pass these laws, and we're supposed to be happy with the half-ass laws they pass because, like, well, it's better than that. I don't buy that. The Constitution does not say we can eliminate those businesses, basically shut things down, eliminate all those people's businesses just because we want to. It's not there. So a real Republican would be saying, no, we can't do that. But unfortunately, they give in, and what you said is disgusting. It really is disgusting. Those aren't real Republicans. Those are phony-ass Republicans who want to play games with the electorate, who are dumb enough, seriously, I'm to a point now, there are so many dumbass Republicans voting right now and don't even know what they're voting for. They don't even stop to think about it.
Well, we're doing everything we can, and I know I've said this to you before in your listening audience. WPA Freedom. We do have a page on Facebook. We have a page on MeWe, and we also have our own website. But go to the one on Facebook, because last Wednesday I was invited to go to a town hall meeting that was being held. Well, I wasn't invited, but somebody told me about it, and I have to be there because that's just the way I roll. So anyway, it was a state rep out in Salem Township. Go there and watch the video that he made after the town hall meeting, because for 6 minutes, I listened to him bloviate for 20 minutes and tell lie after lie after lie until literally every fiber of my being became unglued, and then I grabbed the microphone and just land-based this little schmuck for 6 minutes. I mean, he looked like a deer in the headlights when I got done with him, and I called him out on everything that he said. He felt so bad, and all the 100 and some people that were in the audience, I turned around and I said to him, I said, this guy represents you in Harrisburg, and he's a liar. Everything he just told you is a bunch of BS to save his ass. You guys need to understand that and start coming up with somebody to primary this guy out. He's not representing you in Harrisburg. He came on and did like a 10-minute video of how the haters, he called us race-based haters, me and one other guy that attacked him for lying. Tell your audience to go to WPA Freedom on Facebook and watch the video that this guy put out there. I mean, it's so pathetic. He's quoting Jesus, and he's the guy. I mean, these people are just so friggin' coming unglued. Listen, what you're doing, you got to keep doing. And the people that are listening to your show, and I know you've got quite a few of them. They need to understand that this isn't. We're not playing games anymore. This is it. If we don't get this thing right, guess what? Start taking Mandarin, because you're going to be speaking it fairly shortly. And look at the lifestyle that people are living in communist Russia and North Korea and Venezuela and Cuba. And make sure that they like that lifestyle, because that's what they're going to be living.
Wait a minute, wait.
Right
Here's the problem. We don't see that. We don't think about this. The media never shows really what's going on in Venezuela. They really, every once in a while, they may see a blurb. This should be something that should be. If it was the opposite, it would be on the news every single day of how they're living in these countries. That in China, they make China look like everybody's living wonderful. No, in China, they're living in closets. I mean, they live in horrible conditions. Oh, they may have a nice little place, but you talk about space, they don't have any. There is so much of these other countries, but Venezuela is the one I think of the most, where they are destitute, and there are people that they went out of there. Oh my God!
Why is everybody flocking our border if this is such a bad place to live? I mean, there's a lot of answers to that question, but why are people from all over the world coming in through the Mexican and the North American continents to cross our border?
We don't have the brain power.
Everybody wants to live here.
But Dino, we don't have the brain power in our country right now, and this is why I attack my own party, because they aren't using it. First of all, they're allowing their children to be taught by liberals, to be indoctrinated by liberals, and they stand by and watch and complain and say, I can't believe they're doing that. The liberals are raising their taxes in the schools left and right in every way, but they don't even realize what's going on. And now they're attacking the cities, and they're standing by saying, well, if you come to my house, it's over when they come to you. When they come to your house, it's over. Yeah, they may lose a few, but they can come in bunches, and you're nothing. Because most people are big talkers, and they won't follow through. And that I know. The people that work hard like you and I do, we know most of them are big talkers. They don't do anything.
All right, well, listen, this is when I'm going to end my talk with you today. As I said, I'm meeting over this weekend with people from Washington, D.C., And I'm excited because they reached out to me. I guess they've heard me speak, or somebody said, "Hey, you might probably want to talk to this guy." And I'm okay, fine. I'm going to talk to anybody to determine whether or not they're conservative. And in my conversations with them, I believe they're the real deal. So I know right now they are in 20 states. They are in 33 counties in Pennsylvania with chapters of the Patriot Caucus. And these people, again, if you remember the modern day Tea Party, they had a movement that got people off their friggin' couches.
I was there.
So I was there too. I mean, I went to all the meetings. I did. I was actually invited to speak at some of those things. So
I was a Tea
as
Party
I learn
leader.
more-
I was a Tea Party leader.
Okay, well, I hope that these meetings that I'm having with them will end up in that, going down that road with me. And if so, then you and I will have a conversation. We'll have another talk on your radio show, and let's see if we can get more people involved. Because I'm not sure that they're in Missouri. I don't know if they have a chapter in Missouri or where part of the state that you're in. So, but listen, I have to jump on a 9 o'clock conference here, and I always appreciate the time that you afford me on your show. And any time, man. If
Okay,
I
buddy.
can do anything to help you and where you are, you know how to reach me.
Okay, buddy. All right. Thanks, Dino. You have a good day.
See you, man.
And I'm going to go into something pretty quickly here. You're right, veteran. Your title for today's show is, "Do you believe liberals using black people should read, Are black people using liberals?" How about we agree that they're using each other? Seriously. It's sad. Buffering bad? Is it really? Let me check something here real quick. Sometimes I got things open, don't even realize it. So give me a second here real quick. Yeah, I see where it says interrupted here. Here, let me get rid of a couple things here. All right, maybe that'll help. Let me see if that's better. All right, that's much better. How's that? Okay. Is that better there? Should be. Yeah, okay, I see. I'm looking at what I need to look at, and it's much better. Thanks for telling me, because sometimes if I leave a little too much open, it has issues. So anyway, make sure that's set up. Okay. All righty. I think that's a little bit better now. I want to thank you, Ronnie, for sending me this. This is a letter, a father's perfect letter to elite school on critical race theory. Now, a lot of people don't even know what critical race theory is, but I want to read this as though he sent it to all of us. Because we need to wake up. We aren't even showing up to elect good school board members at all. So our family recently made the decision not to re-enroll our daughter at Brearley for 2021 and 2022 school year. She has been in Brearley for 7 years, beginning in kindergarten. In short, we no longer believe that Brearley's administration and board of trustees have any of our child's best interests at heart. Moreover, we no longer have confidence that our daughter will receive the quality of education necessary to further her development into critical thinking. And he's right there, because the schools do not want people to think. They want to teach them what to think. Never forget that. And if you think for some reason, by this fantasy that they're really teaching kids that, absolutely not. That's called brainwashing. But anyway, let me continue. Critically thinking, responsible, enlightened, and civic-minded adult. I write to you as a fellow parent to share our reasons for leaving the Brearley. Now, what he does, he sent this to other parents. They'll probably just throw it in the trash. It cannot be stated strong enough that Brearley's obsession with race must stop. It should be abundantly clear to any thinking parent, which would eliminate 90% of them, that Brearley has completely lost its way. The administration and board of trustees have displayed cowardly and appalling lack of leadership by appeasing an anti-intellectual, illiberal mob and then allowing the school to be captured by the same mob. What follows are my own personal views on Brearley's anti-racism, and it is anti-racism. You know, when you are teaching people that black people aren't smart enough to do this, black people aren't smart enough to get an ID. That, I mean, really, think about what the left teaches their own people. They give them this cocky crap bullshit, you know, that they really care so much, but they teach them crap. You know, you're not smart enough. You know, I mean, really, the biggest racists, without a doubt, are on the same side of the people who hang with them. That they're complaining about. I have objected to the view that I should be judged by the color of my skin. Wasn't there a guy to Martin Luther King that said that too? It's the content of your character. I cannot tolerate a school that only judges my daughter by the color of her skin, but encourages and instructs her to prejudice others by theirs. You know, wouldn't you think you'd be talking to a bunch? This is really what, think about this. You're really talking to a bunch of KKK people because it's a different way of doing it, but that's what they're doing. They're saying, well, we're going to judge people by the color of their skin. Would this have worked in the 50s? Yes, on the KKK side. It is interning of Japanese and exterminating of Jews. Systematic racism is unequivocally not a small number of isolated incidents over a period of decades. Ask any girl of any race if they have ever experienced insults from friends, have ever felt slighted by teachers, or have ever suffered the occasional injustice from a school at which they spent up to 13 years of their life. And if you are bound to hear grievances, some petty, some not. We have not had systematic racism against blacks in this country since the Civil Rights Reforms of the 60s. And that was to clean up the Democrats Act. They fooled the black people by saying, let's pass all this legislation to make it very easy to tear your family apart by saying we will support unwed mothers. we don't care about fathers living in the home. We don't care about black children having fathers there because they don't. They just as soon see the black family destroyed. How excited is anybody watching the show right now that they can actually go back to, nobody's on the phone anymore, they can actually go back and teach kids not to be racist, but right now they're teaching kids to be racist. That's what they're doing against your own race. How would we feel if we told black people to be racist against their own black people? You know, I mean, really. Stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life. But by the way, oh, I love this. These are these highly educated people. And you're a bunch of dumbass. You know, you're hillbillies. You have no common sense. We were educated by liberals. They were indoctrinated, my friends. Don't think they were anything else. They were indoctrinated. I object to mandatory anti-racism training for parents, especially when presented by rent-seeking charlatans of Pollyanna. These sessions, in both their content and delivery, they're actually having this. People don't even know this. They're actually saying, you need to come here to the school so we can teach you not to be racist. Is that really what our school systems are about? And if you don't believe it is, where the hell were you on April 6th? Why? And go back with what Dino said. I mean, Dino was talking about in their own state there. We are allowing bad legislation so we get a bite. It reminds me when Obama was president and he gave billions of your dollars to them for a traitor American. That's what it amounted to. That was okay because Obama did it. Deplorable we are. You're right. You know what? Maybe Hillary is right. A bunch of deplorables. Because right now, when you just sit your happy ass at home and just don't do a thing, you are the problem. I will say it over and over, and I read it almost every day. When you do nothing, you are only helping the enemy. That's what you're doing. I object to Brealey's advocacy for groups and movements such as Black Lives Matter, a Marxist, anti-family, anti-Asian, people don't even realize what these groups are about. They're out there using the money that's sent to them to buy themselves expensive homes. I hope these same people who are okay with this are not so hard. I mean, believe me, I have problems with this too. Because as far as I'm concerned, BLM is a religion. When you see Joel Osteen with these multi-million-dollar homes and airplanes and cars and the rest of it, you complain about that, but it's okay for somebody to go in and at least they're not looting your neighborhood. But you got people here who loot neighborhoods and to burn them down. They do everything. And you sit back and you go, wow, somebody else needs to do something. I object to, have we been told time and time again over the past year, that the school's first priority is the safety of our children. That's the biggest bunch of bullshit. I'm telling you right now, when they tell me we are very concerned about the safety, how about the safety of their minds? How about the safety of teaching them how to think, not what to think? You know, the one thing that I do it on this show. Don't believe me? Go look it up. I don't want you to sit there and go, well, I believe, it's nice that you're believing. That's great. But you know what? When you are not using the brain that you are born with, I'm embarrassed for you. I really am. Gentleman continues. The number one priority of a school has always been and always will be education. Brealey's misguided priorities exemplify both the safety culture and the cover your ass culture that together have proved so toxic for our society and have so damaged the mental health and resiliency of 2 generations of children and counting. We have today, wait a minute, I object to the gutting of history, civics, and classical literature curriculums. I object to the censorship of books that have been taught for generations because they contain dated language potentially offensive to the thin-skinned and hypersensitive, something that has already happened in my daughter's 4th grade class. I object to the lowering of standards for the admission of students and for the hiring of teachers. I object to the erosion of rigor in the classroom and classwork and the escalation of grade inflation. Any parent with eyes open can foresee these inevitable. You know what they're doing, though? They're turning around and they're using racism and teaching your kids racism. That's what they're doing. Lastly, I object to the strongest sentiments possible that Brealey has begun to teach what to think instead of how to think, just like I said. I object that the school is now fostering an environment where our daughters and our daughters' teachers are afraid to speak their minds in class for fear of consequences. I object that Brealey is trying to usurp the role of parents in teaching morality and bullying parents to adopt that false morality in home. I object that Brealey is fostering a divisive community where families in different races, which until recently were part of the same community, are now segregated. They are teaching racism. People, get with it. They are teaching racism. Over the past several months, I have personally spoken to many Brearley parents as well as parents of children at peer institutions. It is abundantly clear that the majority of parents believe that Brearley's anti-racist policies are misguided. Kind of sounds like Republicans, doesn't it? Yeah, this is really awful. This is terrible. But I'm not going to do anything. That's where we are. I'll continue. Many believe, as I do, these policies ultimately destroy what we have, what was until recently a wonderful education institution, but as I am sure will come no surprise you, given the insidious cancel culture that has of late permeated our society, most parents are too fearful to speak up. You have allowed the bullies to win. They call me a bully. I don't care. I bully my own party. People give me grief about it. I don't care. Because if we don't get off our dead asses and do something, it's over. It is over, folks. Never forget that. But speak up you must. There is strength in numbers, and I assure you, something I've been saying for quite a while. The numbers are there. Contact the administration and board of trustees to demand an end to the destructive and anti-intellectual claptrap known as anti-racism. And if changes are not forthcoming, then demand new leadership, which is what we were trying to do. But the Republican Central Committee leadership said, no, I'm going to give money to the liberals who are destroying our kids' lives. Now people can say, well, they were friends. I don't care. I have friends that, well, not many, that are liberals that won't do anything. Oh, no, you're wrong. Whatever. I'm not giving them a penny to help them push their agenda. But the chair of the Republican Party in Jefferson County, Jim Burbridge, you're an idiot. Yes. You gave money to the enemies. My goodness. Wow, aren't we glad you're on our side? Don't you guys think that the same way about the very Republicans that told Trump, go to hell, we're going to impeach you, we're not going to support you? And make no mistake about it. Do not go by just the ones that said we impeach you. You have to go by almost every damn Republican up there because very few of them stood up. We can almost count on one hand. And what do? We sit back and let it happen. So apparently, and look, this is not a fun show to watch sometimes. It isn't, but damn it, I just lose it. You know, we had Dina on here. I read this, and asleep at the wheel are our Republican friends. You know, it says go to realrepublicans.net. I'm telling you what, I look on there and I see very few people signing up to be part of it. I see virtually the same people contributing. Nobody else is. Who cares? I'll take my money and run. Well, while you have your money in your pocket, this is the one thing that you don't understand. That your taxes are going to go up and going to eat that money. Oh, well, I better have it then. Fine. You go ahead and do that. I am so disturbed that I just looked. It makes me want to quit. I'm not going to. It makes me want to quit. We had a trial in Minneapolis yesterday. Yes, you may not live there, but it's coming your way. You got Kim Gardner here in St. Louis City. But we have a trial where no sequestered jury. The mob is outside. We have a member of Congress, actually more than one, but one that actually shows up, gets a police escort, then gets out of the car, and the political horrors in Minneapolis helped her along. She gets out of her car and says the police suck and the rest of it. Where the hell are we? I'm telling you what, it's scary. I have to take a break. Sometimes my patience is so short. I'm going to go ahead and play the Lee Greenwood thing with the soldiers, but apparently we better hang on to these soldiers for sure. Why don't we just let them all go? You know what? Let's go ahead and tell all the soldiers that since we're not going to defend our own country from within, we'll just go ahead and you can come home because our country is going to go down anyway. Not because of enemies outside. They just jumped in and said, we're going to go ahead and take over. That's exactly where we are. So maybe that's what we ought to do. I don't know. I get so disgusted sometimes because I watch this and people are asleep at the wheel. They just are. So, all right, I'm going to take a break here. God knows I need it. Let me get everything ready here. All right, we'll be back in a few.
If tomorrow all the things were gone, I'd work for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife. I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, where the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. To be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I'm glad to stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, oh, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston, and New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say,
Well, at least we got people trying to defend our borders. I just wish people would try to defend our borders from within. That's the hard part for me. It really is. You know, I don't look at that. I look at that song as a great song. Very moving. But who's it moving? You know what it reminds me of? Whoops, wrong one here. You know what it reminds me of? I gotta get rid of that. It reminds me, honestly, of people standing around doing nothing. That's what it reminds me of. It really does. And it breaks my heart. And I wonder sometimes, you know, and I appreciate what Dino has said, you know, don't give up. It's really hard not to give up. It really is hard. because, when I just watch people stand by and let this happen, it kills me. I'm that John Peters at the meeting last time was crying. Because I watch the very people around me go through the motions. Help the enemy by not doing anything or giving them money. That's where we are. That's exactly where we are. And when we allow that, I'm sorry. Who agrees with me? Seriously, who agrees with me? A lot of people are afraid to say anything sometimes. Don't be afraid. I mean, at what point, the media, look, there's no doubt, and this is our biggest problem. It is our biggest problem, no doubt about it, besides our own government. But we have allowed the leftist, it's not media. Let's be honest, it's not media. They claim to be what they want. Because media is about journalism. Our media is not about journalism. When you watch ABC, CBS, MSNBC, CNN, I can go on and on. The very rich liberals and phony Republicans own the media. And they dictate to them exactly what they want to be. It's like having Pravda. And for those who don't know who Pravda is the Russian version. I mean, is the Russian version of the government telling you what to do and how to do it. This is what you're going to think. That's exactly where we are. Yeah. Well, I don't know if you know this. We were, I'm going to tell this story, Linda. Linda says, I agree. Central Committee calls police. Linda and I were at a meeting, at a Central Committee meeting. And this is a couple years ago. Yeah, a couple years ago. And I got attacked as soon as I walked in the door. And some of you people know this story. I want to tell you new people this story. When we walked in, I was doing my show before, I've been doing it for many years. And we walked in, one of the former state senators who was one of the committee members said, Dave, I have a bone to pick with you. We don't like what you called us. Now, I was an elected member of the board, of the committee, and they didn't like what I said. Now, you have to understand, I've been chastised in this committee, whatever, but they are entitled to do it. Kind of reminds me of liberals. So I call them out on my show. Anyway, continue. The guy said, by the way, I went there with the idea, and Linda knew this. I said, I'm just going to resign. I'm not putting up with these people for 2 years. So let me proceed. After he says, hey, we have a bone to pick with you. You were calling us the A word on your show. That's what you have to do, Keith. And I said, A word. A. You mean assholes? He said, yes. And I said, that's easy. I know Linda was just freaking out laughing. I said, that's because you people are. Now, I know I have a tendency to be honest, but I wasn't joking. These people could be jackasses to me, but I was supposed to be nice. I don't think so. I'm not a nice person. If you're going to attack me, you have a lot to deal with. That's how it was. And the next thing out of his mouth was, you need to resign. Well, that was the stupidest thing he ever said, because my idea when I walked in that room was I was going to resign. I wasn't going to put up with their grief for 2 years. I got better things to do. But he gave me something better to do. And, of course, I didn't resign because I thought, I'm going to make these people's lives as miserable as I can. And that's what happened. So, for you people out there to actually believe that we can just sit by and let the so-called phony Republicans, and there's more phony Republicans than you know, in your own county. and Keith, I appreciate it. It's one person at a time, but we need a bunch of you one persons. That's what we need. You just can't sit by and do nothing. Check to see if what book. I got a question to ask you, Brownie. Can you get some history books for us? I've been looking. It's hard to get because they don't want parents to know what's going on. I want a history book from today. What they're teaching our children. So I can read to you exactly what they're teaching our children. We already know they're teaching them critical race theory. And you know what? 95% of the parents don't even know it. They're teaching you to hate your own race. They're teaching you to be ashamed that you're white. I've said this for years. I mean, I actually have had a great relationship with black people. Always have. We get along great. But they're teaching us not to get along. They're teaching kids not to get along. They can say what they want, but automatically, you got black kids automatically looking at white kids saying, oh, you're lucky. You got them, making them jealous. Everything. They're teaching our kids to be ashamed of themselves. Whatever happened to, we're supposed to teach kids to be proud of themselves. Go to used bookstores at Trevor's. You know what, though? A lot of those books are not out there right now. You know why? I'm talking about the history books that they teach at school because the leftists do not want us to know what they're teaching kids. I want to bring up some very simple things here, okay? Tell me education is not a phony bunch of garbage most of the time. And I'll tell you why. Yes, destabilization. You're right. Destabilization is part of the process. But how come when you go to you go to college, you have to pay an enormous amount of money for books, and you can't use the books from the year before because they want you to buy the newest books, and these aren't cheap books. That's what they do. They change it. Now, I'm just a simple man here. Of course, I'm pretty good technologically. If they make them do this online in grade school because they don't want anybody to see the books, why in college are they just not saying, we're just going to go ahead and change a few portions of what's what be in a book? You can look at it online. Maybe they do that now. I don't think they do. Because these kids are, they're paying $300-400 for a book. I mean, what a farce. We have allowed so many farces. It's like insulin. When Trump was president, insulin was, he made sure insulin was cheap for people that needed it. A lot of diabetics out there, especially these days. As soon as Biden walks in, he goes, that's bull. We got to take care of our pharmaceutical industry. And that's what they did. Blacks are being used as, and I want to tell you, Queenie said blacks are being used. Yeah, we have phonies all over, don't we? And I'm going to go back to what I said before when I talked to Dino. He was saying how they gave up the fact that when you went into, this is what he was saying in case you weren't here, that in Pennsylvania, they passed legislation that said that when you go in there that you can no longer check one box so all Democrats or all Republicans are there. You have to go through each one. Well, that sounds great in fantasy land, but they also gave up so much. So I have to ask you people, are Republicans this stupid to give it up or what? You tell me. $350 for your daughter's books. I just... The U.S. Department of Education was a Trump failure, totally not addressed, and signed the U.S.N. I agree with you, but let me go a step farther here, though. When you have so many phony Republicans as we saw, Trump knew what he could and couldn't do, and this is where I jump on so-called Republicans. because they don't pay attention. They really don't. I try to teach this, but unfortunately, you're too hard. Grow up. Grow a couple. And let's give the males. Let's talk about the males. They're not men. We got more sissified males on the Republican side than I've ever seen in my life. Oh, I got a gun. Let me tell you, as an ex-police officer, we used to say this. Just because you have a badge, and I'll bet you Ronnie would agree with this in the military. Just because you have a badge and a gun does not make you a man. If it does, then every thug in the areas that are the ghettos, I guess those are men. Just because you give, and I'm not attacking police officers. Look, I will attack bad police officers all day long. Are there some? Hell yes. When those police officers are more concerned about giving you a ticket for doing 5 miles an hour, 70 in a 65 than they are of anything else, we have a problem. Those are not, I'm sorry, that's bull. But we have people out there that agree with that. It's like, well, you shouldn't be speeding. I've told my stories about that. Yes, I've seen phony Republicans from local on up in our own, in our own county. And you've got it in your county, but I'll speak for mine right now. We have most elected officials have an R next to their name. I guarantee you, they're not ours. They're not Republicans. They are people with the R next to their name, and Republicans have become so lazy that they say, well, at least they're Republican. The primaries come up, and instead of vetting these people, saying, I mean, there were people, I can't tell you how many people in our last gubernatorial election that did not know, and we did our best to show it, that did not know that the governor had signed the mail-in voting bill. Yes! I didn't know that. Why didn't somebody come here and beat the hell out of me and tell me? I mean, I was busy. I'm busy. I can't find out everything. You never tried to find anything. Well, you're right. Republicans are the ones that are giving them. Look, the phony Republicans who have an R next to their name are not Republicans. They are giving up your rights every single day. We got the Senate Pro Tem, the Senate leader in Missouri, Dave Schatz, giving up your liberties left and right and getting away with it. Getting away with it. We have some people that go to the Capitol all the time and I try to talk to them. I've talked to Schatz before. I might as well be talking to the wall. The sheriffs should be defending the people. If you have a sheriff who defends the establishment, who is taking orders. First of all, the sheriff doesn't have to take orders from anybody. People don't realize that. The sheriff in your county does not have to take orders. Police chiefs do because they've arranged it that way. That would be like cities. But in the county, the sheriff is actually the chief law enforcement officer. I'll give you for instance. Let's say, for instance, the feds come to Jefferson County. They have to check in with the sheriff first and say, hey, we're here. It's up to the sheriff to allow that stuff to happen. If the sheriff says, I'm sorry, but you can't do that here. I run this county. The feds, realistically, can't do anything. I'm pretty sure I'm right on that. But unfortunately, we don't know anything about what happens civically because most people don't even know what's going on. They don't even know there's an election going on. And when they do, they don't know who to vote for because they haven't taken the time to look. Wow. Here we are. We're driving down the street in Jefferson County. You see all these intersections with signs for school board. Now, any thinking American, which is very few, is going to say, wait a minute. Our schools that I've been complaining about are having problems big time. They're teaching the wrong things. Oh, wait a minute. They don't know that. Come think of it. But they know it's a problem. I'll bet you there's an election. Oh, there's a sign there. Vote April 6th. I wonder if they mean me. You get a card in the mail. Wow. Did you know there was an election on April 6th? That's what those signs are for. I don't know any of those people. Maybe they'll send me something. I mean, the laziest people on the planet. And conservatives, I'm telling you right now, you may say you're a hard worker, but I'm telling you right now, if you don't know any of this stuff, you are lazy, and I'm going to point it out, and if you don't like it, oh well. Show me you're not. Oh, I know what's going on here. I love it. I love it when somebody tells me how much they know what's going on. I love it. My favorite question in the protest we had at the Capitol last year, that was in Jefferson City. Do you know who your state representative is? The quietest moment of the day. Remember that? Remember that, Keith? Those of us that pay attention know who it is. I can't tell you how many people that spend so much time, this is what gets me, they spend so much time on Facebook saying, yeah, I found something cool. I'm going to go ahead and put on Real Republicans. I want to put them there, do this, do that. They go there because they're so educated. Who is your state representative? Isn't that Ann Wagner? No. That's your congresswoman. Favorite answer? Question. Well, that's pretty much the same, isn't it? That's a well-educated voter. That's the same person that told me that 80 million people are pissed off because of the election, and they're all going to do something. I'm not trying to be rude. I hope they understand. I'm not trying to attack that person. I'm trying to wake them up. And I know it doesn't make some people happy. They think I'm making fun of them. I am in a way. Because, look, I've said a lot of stupid things too, and that was stupid. Everybody says stupid things. When I say something stupid, I admit it, and I learn from it. But I will never deny I don't say stupid things. I've done stupid things. I say stupid things. I was fighting against sustainable development when it was known as 2020 instead of 2030. They're teaching our kids to be Marxist. So while they're indoctrinating, let's say it the way it is, they are indoctrinating your kids to be Marxist. That's exactly what they're doing. While you're going, oh, I don't know what's going on. Oh. The goal of the establishment is to federalize all law enforcement, and I mean all. You're absolutely right. Because, you know, we are about states. We have this thing called the 10th Amendment, which most people don't even know about. And Keith, you're right. The sheriff is the president of the county. You may have a county executive, but without the sheriff there, he can make all the demands he wants, but without the sheriff to carry him out, there's nothing he can do. He can't tell the sheriff anything. They're both elected officials. You know, and that's just it. So if you're watching this show for the first time, you're going, God, that Super Dave guy, he's nuts. I'm nuts about my freedom. I'm nuts about the lack of participation. I'm nuts because I am tired of people saying they are Republican. I call you drive-by Republicans. I wish you'd stop attacking me. Then give me something, give me a reason not to go after you. I don't want to do that. I want people to watch this show and say, you know what? I have been a bad boy. I have not paid attention. I haven't done this, haven't done that. We should never be afraid of electing somebody. We should never be afraid of a real trial. Right now, we have a phony trial in Minneapolis. You may agree with the results. That's not the point. We had a jury that was threatened. We had everybody that was threatened. We had a mayor of that city and a governor of that county, the governor of that state, that went ahead and said, yeah, not a problem. How would you like it to be your son or father or brother that was Derek Chauvin and that happened? I guarantee you, when they walked out of that courtroom, when they were in that courtroom, I guarantee you those jurists look at each other and was like, I am not about to give my life for anybody. And here's what gets me, you want them to stand up. You're saying, well, you shouldn't be afraid. That's like calling the kettle black, isn't it? If you are afraid to, it happens here. You didn't even have the guts to go to the polls. 8% of the people went to the polls on election day, and you have nerve enough to complain to a jurist that's scared for his life? And you are letting it happen? You're letting your elected officials allow it to happen? You're allowing a fraudulent election? Yeah, but I'm mad about it. No, you're not. I am so sick of people telling me they're mad about something. When I get mad about something, I guess I'm weird. When I get mad about something, I think of what I can do. That's the first thing I think. What can I do? Being mad, being angry is an emotion. Liberals love emotions. And that's why I say there's so much liberalism on the Republican side, because it's a feeling you get and that's it. I really don't know. I really don't know. You're in charge, and you're allowing. We're allowing it to happen. We're just allowing it to. It's not even there anymore. It's going to happen. Get used to it, and that's it. Everybody better get used to it, because that's exactly what's going on. We're allowing it to happen. And every once in a while, I actually will find. Here's something I really love. I'm going to play this. This is an interview of some. This gentleman he said, I went to George Floyd Memorial in Minneapolis to speak with protesters.
I'm back in Minneapolis,
and I'm going to play this, so let me get it real quick here, because this is the mentality when you sit by and do nothing. This is the mentality of what you get. Exact mentality of what you get, and frankly, you deserve. So, all right, here we go.
I'm Ami Horowitz. I'm back in Minneapolis, and the tensions are high. The city is about to explode. I'm here to find out what the hell is going on.
You can burn the whole city down. What does it matter?
So I said burn the city down, so they can see that we're here. Continue the movement.
Do you think the city's going to burn down?
Yes, absolutely.
No question about it.
No. And that'll be the least of our problems.
By burning all the city down, we'll teach them a lesson?
I think, honestly, I'm all for burning it down. There shouldn't even be a trial. He should be convicted just as is.
If he got off, would you support street justice on him?
Yes. Y'all should have fed him to the wolves a long time ago.
How many unarmed black people were killed by cops last year? You have any idea?
100 plus? In just Minnesota?
No, around the country.
Oh, thousands.
Unarmed black people.
Thousands.
Seems like you're trying to erase, our
destruct the whole race of, you know, the African American race.
Would you consider this a genocide? It's the eradication of an entire people.
That's a good question, and now that I've been confronted with it, I'm gonna go ahead and say yes.
I mean, genocide means like the targeting of one race for its destruction. Do you think that's what they're doing?
Genocide of anybody that's not white.
Would you call what's happening a genocide?
Yeah, I think that's one word for it.
Genocide?
Yes, most definitely.
A genocide.
Yeah.
Another civil war in this country in order for us to have true justice.
If that's what it takes, then we have to do it.
Do we need another civil war now?
If that's what it takes, then I believe so. If that's what it's gonna take to revamp everything, for everything to be equal, at least equal for us to have justice, I believe so. Will it happen? Probably.
What percent of this country are white supremacists?
Say most of the country. I can't give you a number, but
You
like,
say majority of the country.
yeah.
Should we just gather up the white supremacists and do street justice?
That would be ideal. Again, I'm not gonna say anything that would directly incriminate me, but I would say that would be a good idea.
I don't want to say we need to go start killing all white folks, but it's like,
But
maybe they need to feel the pain and the hurt.
Wow. Aren't you glad? Aren't you glad this is what's going on? Where do they learn this stuff? They learn it from the media. They learn it from your teachers. Isn't that wonderful? While you sit back and give money to the enemy, when you sit back and don't even show up to vote, when you sit back and just let things happen, those are the people who are predicting the future. When they say, you know what I say to these people? They say, we need to burn everything down. We need to start with their houses. How's that? They don't mean everyone else's house. They don't mean their house. They mean everybody else's houses. Leave mine alone. Or make it all white people. 18 people last year, black people, were killed. God knows we know every one of them. Yes, it's a problem. GOP voters, they go, yeah, maybe it is. They're actually falling for this stupidity. You know, isn't it funny how so many people who call themselves, well, let's call them what they are, drive-by Republicans, really believe this stuff? They really do. Oh, I don't know anybody does, but they do. Now, you may say, well, I don't think that's true. Well, how many of your friends are running around with a mask on? I'm dead serious. You may think that's nothing. It is something. They believe the bull. And yesterday, was it? Well, it came out a few days ago, and yesterday it was admitted by the CDC. See if I got the story here about masks are actually harmful for you. And the CDC finally agreed with it. Do you think the media is actually going to push that? You got Dr. Phony Fauci out there that even Republicans were believing. Well, you know. I mean, we got all kinds of Republican friends that we're not friends with anymore that actually said, oh, no, you have to wear a mask. That Democrat right there said so. Oh, it's not about Democrats. Yes, it is. Yeah, you can show, you're right, you can show them the documentation. It's too much work. It's too much work, you know. Their kids are learning, are being force-fed all this garbage that we're talking about here. And the Republican parents, the parents, whatever they are, go through the motions and say, oh, my kids don't play. When I come home, I correct them. Right. You're right. If anyone doesn't know what mob rule is, you saw it firsthand yesterday with the court in Minnesota. They are saying, we should just go ahead and destroy them. Should we do that with the black people too? Let's be honest about it. That may have been what Democrats did back before with the KKK. So should we go ahead and do that, black people too? Okay, he went and killed 3 white people, and this happens a hell of a lot more than the opposite. But this black person went and killed this black group, whatever, went and killed all these white people because they were white. No, they should have a trial. Let me tell you right now, as an ex-cop, I couldn't work today. I would never do it today. But right now, these black thugs think they can do whatever they want, and as soon as the police stop them, one way or the other, after they've been shot at and everything else, as soon as they put handcuffs on, well, you're done. You need to go forward. Let me go ahead and destroy everything. Doesn't matter. I killed these 5 people. You talk about 2 senses of justice? Oh my God! It's so sad. It really is. Now we're hearing about all the election audits. I got to tell you where I was with this. Well, we have to proceed. That's what January 6th was. We have to proceed because we already know. And how many phony Republicans did not stand with Josh Hawley and so many others? And Josh Hawley put his life on the line. They went to his house. They do this all the time. And there's one good thing about living in Jefferson County, I will say, that they don't come out here to attack me. Number one, I am not going to be defensive about it. I've never been a racist in my life. Are there some black people I don't like? You damn right I don't. And there's a lot of white people I don't like too. So if I'm a racist, what race is it that I don't like? You know, I got to tell you, when I go to VFW, there's a gentleman there named Sonny. And Sonny's a black gentleman. We become friends. Not because he's black, because he's fun. And one time I looked at him and said, hey, let's do some Temptations, man. So he and I got up there and sang My Girl. After we're done, give each other a high five, go on our way. Good guy. I don't have a problem with that. And he didn't have a problem with me. But everyone else has a problem here. These kids that never, ever know, really never experience real racism. They really haven't. They don't know about racism. When you see Mississippi burning and stuff like that, when you see where they went and they grabbed a black young man because somebody say he raped a white woman or something like that, when you saw those white Democrats, let me be specific, those white Democrats, when you see that, they don't even want to teach that. They just want to say white people. No, it was white Democrats. They don't want to teach black people that there were black slave owners. They don't want to teach it. They don't want to teach black people there were white slaves. All they want to do is indoctrinate your children, your grandchildren, all those people. You know, you care about your children, 8% of the people showed up to vote. So we can change the school system and defend our own schools. That's what we try to do. Did it do any good? Hell no. Didn't do any good at all. I saw that Minneapolis City Council candidate and former city employee encourages rioters to burn down wealthy neighborhoods. As you know what? As long as they are liberal neighborhoods, I'm in. I'm in on it. Let's do it. Let's burn them down because you talk about wanting to feel what it is really like. And I want to tell these black thugs, and here's the difference, my friends. They're white thugs too. We get to see the black ones right there because they're the ones that act like they're being so hurt. I mean, how stupid are you to say, yeah, let's burn down my house. I'm pissed. Tells me they don't own the house. Unless your house is falling down or whatever, you're not about to burn down your own house, are you? And you know what? Here's the key. Let's burn down the neighborhood because we'll just go ahead and tell Joe Biden he'll go ahead and he'll give us all new money, give us all kinds of money so we can rebuild the neighborhoods, and we can have nicer places that we can tear down. and burned down. I don't know, folks. I just until we get off our butts, there's nothing we could do. Nothing we could do. Minneapolis, when you have somebody, Cori Bush is another one. She is now a congresswoman from Missouri, and she's a Marxist. Look at what we have in our government. Elected officials. Let's describe these people. You're right. The only way to fix the Marxist school board is to elect a majority to this board, and that will take more than one election cycle. Why are the police chiefs appointed, not elected? That's just how they work. That's why the city of St. Louis used to have the police department used to be run by the state. Therefore, there was no political influence. It was a division of its own. But the people said, well, this is our city. We should be able to run ourselves. And that's what they got. And now it's a disaster. I know of some police officers left there, and they can't wait. They're dying right now to get out of there. And the thing is there's the left. They're not applying for police officer. Who would want to? I remember growing up, and that was actually a very honorable job. Honorable job. You have someone you have a five-time felon, George Floyd, and we now, of course, it doesn't matter. People are going to believe what they want to believe. His foot on his neck didn't have anything to do with it. He was having problems before then, and he was drug-induced big time. And from what the unbiased experts said, he died of his drug overdose. I mean, that's what happens. But no, we're going to blame it on the cop. City police are not constitutional. You're right. It's unconstitutional. It is. When you have, this is the biggest problem we have. I'm glad you told me that, Keith. Keith is a real Republican. He was elected to the health board. And he's on his own. Am I correct, Charlie and Keith? Isn't Perry County, where you live, isn't the majority of voters there, are they Republican or Democrat? I'd like to know what it is. But he said, Keith said, I lost a 4-1 vote yesterday trying to block our hospital CEO from being vice chair on our health board. You know what that reminds me of? In the state of Missouri, if you want to be a beautician or a barber, you have to go through the board of whatever it is. Jim Means isn't here. He's actually spoken to him. But in order to be there, in order to be a barber or beautician, you got to get your license. Doesn't matter what you're doing. You could be braiding hair, and because you're touching hair, you have to have a license. Stupidest thing I ever heard in my life. That's what you got to have. But here, same thing here, Keith. The people on the board own the barber colleges and the beauty colleges. So you got to use their service. What a crock. They should never be up there. Republicans, yeah. Yeah, I drive by Republicans. That's what we have. Yes. Wasn't that interesting, George? Nancy Pelosi said, "Thank you, George, for dying for your..." Did she say that for Ashley Babbitt? For dying for the cause of black justice. This is where, you know what? This is why I said up front, Nancy Pelosi and the hierarchy of the Democrat Party are using black people to push their cause. They don't care about black people. Did you ever read the book of the former Secret Service agent that said probably one of the biggest racist he saw there, one of the biggest jerks, didn't like the military, was a woman named Hillary Clinton? Do you see the so-called journalists of the media report that? Hell no. Hell, they were doing their best after President Trump did everything he could to help many. Let's start with the veterans. He was huge on the veterans. They did their best to try to get veterans to go against Trump when Trump was doing more for him than any other president. It wasn't lip service. He goes, we're not doing this anymore. He did everything he could to help him. That's why the veterans that voted against him are obviously were hurt in battle and they're brain dead. Why would you stop the very people that are trying to help you? It makes no sense. If anybody thinks that Nancy Pelosi gives a damn about the fact that they're black, she doesn't care. She uses it. You are the force that Republicans aren't using. They use you because you're stupid enough to go out there and do this stuff. Look, these are the same people that think you're too stupid to vote without help. They think you're too stupid to go get a voter ID card. You're smart enough to get an ID. I always wondered about that. How about let's play their game just a touch, just for fun's sake here. Okay, you have to have an ID you have to have an ID for everything except for voting. What if in the laws, the Republicans say, okay, we'll play the game. We'll play the game. And I'm doing this on purpose, so just hear me out. If you get a check and you have to show your ID, then you have to show your ID when you vote. If you get anything that requires an ID, here, a vaccine, you need a vaccine. You need an ID to get a vaccine. How isn't that, according to the left, isn't that very racist of the left to do that? What about those poor people that don't know how to get a voter ID? They're not going to be smart enough, according to the leftists. They're not going to be smart enough to get an ID to get a vaccination, are they? I don't know. They're going by what I'm hearing on the left, there's some pretty stupid black people, according to the people on the left. That's their own people. The globalist plantation, you're right. Yeah, they want an ID card for everything. And you ever notice all these people, I'm just saying who they are, because right now the left is using the black people as much as they can. You've got a 16-year-old running around with a knife trying to stab somebody, and it's always my favorite one. She was a very loving, peaceful little girl. Had a motherly nature about her. Well, let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at this here. I want to see what she says here. Because by the way, they have a picture of this loving girl with a knife in her hand. Yes, they have that. Isn't that just wonderful? Let me bring this up here real quick. We're going to see how wonderful this child is. It's very short, but I'm bringing it up on purpose here. So, all right, let's hear how wonderful she is here. Okay, all right, let's hear what they got to say.
Micaiah was named after a male prophet in the Bible. She was a very loving, peaceful little girl. She was 16 years old. She was an honor roll student. And Micaiah had a motherly nature about her. She promoted peace. And that's something that I want to always be remembered. Micaiah was named after a male prophet in the Bible.
I'm going to show you a picture they have on. See this? Can you see this right here? That's Micaiah. That's a knife in her hand. That's as peaceful you get, isn't it? Yeah, she was trying to take a piece out of that woman is what she was trying to do. Isn't that wonderful? Micaiah was had a motherly nature about her. Isn't that great? Oh, goodness. I'm telling you. It's just uncanny what they will pull. And seriously, people won't even look at the knife in her hand. Well, they should have done so. She's going to kill somebody. You know, every police officer, the rule for every police officer now, whoops, wrong one here. The rule for every police officer here, now, this is the new rule, is that you have to get shot or stabbed. Today, you have to at least get shot or stabbed before you can retaliate. Yeah, mostly peaceful, right. That's what you have to do. You have to get shot or stabbed. You know, I'm with you. I've already called that. Police in those areas. All right. Well, how about this? Since they want to defund the police, all the liberals that voted for that, go ahead and put up, here's what they ought to do. Hey, you want your state legislators to do something that really means something? All right. Every person that voted, that believes in defunding the police, needs to put a sign on the front of their residence that says, I believe in defunding the police. Now, let me go a step further, because there are people that say, no, that's not going to happen. I don't want that. And then the people that believe in the fact that you should be able to protect yourself should be able to carry the weaponry they need and put a sign on there saying, come to my house and I'll shoot you. If you try to break in, I'll shoot you. And legally be able to do it. So let's see when they go down the street, how many of the thugs, they're going to burn the houses down, whatever, how many of the thugs will approach those houses with all the weaponry? Let's see how that happens. I've always said that. We should, if you believe in the fact that you think the Second Amendment is not about you having a weapon, make sure you take a sign and put it on your front window. That's what you should do. You're right. Self-defense is a natural right. And you have politicians trying to take it away. What is wrong with people? Even going to the ball games and stuff like that. There's a gentleman I knew who was at the ball game. He's a vet. And he goes to the ball game. At the ballpark, you are not allowed to have a gun. That way mass murderers have the upper hand. And the people at watching you walk from your car to the game and back have the upper hand. The thugs. He was walking back. He got shot. He's paralyzed for life. Because other people said you can't protect yourself. I personally, and I've said this, I think he should sue the Cardinals by saying you can't defend yourself. Now, people could say you don't go there. I don't go there because of that. But we don't need to have a gun everywhere. Bottom line is if you go downtown, St. Louis, you are taking your life in your hands. There are people watching you all the time. There are thugs out there looking for prey. Just like, we have a bird feeder out here. And we'll sit there at our table and we'll eat our breakfast or whatever and we'll watch the feeder. And you watch birds look for prey all the time. They put their beak down, they get a couple bites and they look around. They look for the prey. Americans have become so stupid that they don't want to defend themselves, and they're and they don't even look for the prey. We're supposed to totally discriminate. We're not supposed to discriminate. We're just totally ignore the fact that there's three hoods, three thugs walking your way, and you're supposed to think good things about them. No. You're not supposed to think good things about it. You're supposed to look at them now. Wait a minute. Should I be concerned? That's called discrimination. That's smart discrimination. Doesn't mean you're black. Doesn't mean this. What? If I see some well-dressed people, I'm sorry. If I see some people who are, I don't care what color they are, if they walk over, they look like they just they're a gangbanger, I guarantee you, I'm watching them. And believe me, I watch them. Yeah, it's scary. It really is. Second Amendment is about limiting the government from infringing on right. You're absolutely right. And the left and your schools, the ones that you didn't bother to care about, the schools are teaching the children a totally different definition of all the Bill of Rights. They are telling them that the Bill of Rights is what the government is going to allow you to do. That's what it is. The government will allow you to wear a weapon. I mean, to have a weapon. That's what they tell. That's not what it is. It tells the government, you have no right to tell this person they cannot protect themselves. That's what the Second Amendment's all about. Then we have First Amendment. We have Facebook and the rest of them. I'm in Facebook jail. The First Amendment. And you have Twitter and Facebook, and we can't call them what they are. Here's one for you. Baseball, for instance, has special clauses in it protected by the government. Throw it out. Throw it out. They're telling us what we can and can't do. They shouldn't get anything special. Why should they? I forgot what the clause is, but they get special treatment. Why should they get that? I don't know. We get special treatment. You know, you have corporate America doing their best to bring our country down. They're doing their best to close down small businesses, have done a great job. Even Dina was saying how many businesses in Pennsylvania. Every single country, in our country, hundreds of thousands of business people are former business people. Many of them are having huge financial issues. Who cares? I got my $1,400. I don't care what they teach our children. I don't care what they're doing. It doesn't make a difference. I don't care if I have to look up and see if the person's really a Republican or if he's just a fake one, which most of them are. It doesn't matter. I am going to watch my golf, go and play golf today. That's it. Never in our life should we ever be afraid to have a trial where the mob outside is the reason why they are guilty or innocent. We are called, let me tell you the difference. We were there on January 6th. The government itself failed again, as they do generally. They failed again. They allowed Antifa to start the mess. Yes, I said that. Antifa started this mess. Those of us who were there know it. But we have a First Amendment right for people to lie. They have a right to do that, I guess. I don't know. We can't infringe on their right to lie. Happens all the time. But they lied about what happened. They're putting people in jail without bail who just happen to be in the Capitol. You were in the Capitol. That means you're a bad guy. But then we have people yesterday in Minneapolis and other places that are burning cities out. Well, this is what we'll do. You have kids there. You have a woman there that says her daughter is a wonderful, beautiful girl. She was an honor roll student. There's a lot of honor roll students in jail right now. There's a lot of scammers in jail right now who were brilliant. They got caught. There are really people of men's quality, not many, in jail because they were so smart and they were outfoxing everybody and they got caught. I don't care if they were who they were and what they were in school. There's people that served in our military that are complete animals. And I'm talking about, I watched some of these shows where there was a couple former military guys that were capturing women in Pennsylvania, and they had a place, and they would take them to their place and rape them and torture them. So let's not do this generality. It's like, well, they served and they're wonderful. No. My friend Ronnie, who listens all the time, knows that. That's good. Honor roll students are taught to out wheel knife. If they have a reason, here, you know what? You know why they get an excuse? It wasn't a gun. And if that was a gun, by the way, here's the problem. I think I know what the problem is. That person was not in charge of that knife, just like a gun. That person had that knife and somebody put it in her hand. And she was actually just going to touch the woman and touch her back and say, "Are you okay?" But instead she had a knife in her hand and started stabbing her. That's where we are. I'm telling you what, it's unbelievable. It really is. Well, my friends, this is Wednesday. I only do 3 shows a week. I cannot handle more. Let me give you some, for instance, on Saturday. My friend Ronnie would be coming. He's from Springfield, 3 hours away. That's because he believes in what we're doing here. I will be down there shortly. And Ronnie, if you're listening, let me know when the next meeting is. I'll make the arrangements. If things work out, I'll come there and probably spend a few days in Branson since there's no mask mandates. But I'll be glad to come down here and speak if you'd like. It's up to you. But this Saturday in Arnold, Missouri, if you're here, go to the VFW Hall where people gave their lives. Not all of them, obviously. They wouldn't have a VFW. People have served and gave up a period of their lives to serve their country, as so many of the people in our own country sleep silently through. Probably not. But anyway, it's at 1 o'clock. I want people that show up, and I want it to be where people stand up and say, or come up to the front. Grab a microphone. I don't like when people talk from the audience because you can't hear them. I want everybody to hear them. I want people to be ready to come up here. I want some testimonials from people. I really do. I want people to come up and say, we have to get up our asses and do things. And everybody in this place needs to do it. We don't need spectators at this place. We need, if we have 100 people there, we don't need 5 people who do things. This is not a show. This is a show in a way. But our meetings are not about a show. It's not about going and say, I attended. This is not church where you go in there and say, hey, what's on the bulletin? Wow, I didn't know she did that. Wow, that's cool. Wow, look what's going on here. What did that pastor say? That's not what I'm about. I guarantee you, I'm going to be the one to say, pay attention. I'm a very nice guy, but I'm not nice when it comes to this in a way because we have to do something. We have to. So anyway, I hope to see all of you on Saturday at 1 o'clock. Bring your friends and family. I spoke to a really good gentleman yesterday, a friend of mine. He's bringing a friend with him. That's what we need. We need people to show up and say we mean something, but not just to show up and be entertained. You want to be entertained? Go to a show. Oh, I'm entertaining. I'll be the first to admit that, but that's not why I'm doing it. So anyway, go to Real Republicans. Be a part of that too. Be a part of it, and don't be so damn cheap. Help us. We have to pay for this. If we go by the last week, we couldn't pay it. And there's many of us that have put a lot of money in this, a lot of money. And it's time for other people to be involved because this year is the year that we get people to line up and start being candidates for next year. That's what we need. That's what we need. So anyway, all right. I'll be back next Monday, my friends. Thank you so much. Let's fight for our freedom, please. Please. Because if we don't, we're toast. And I think we're almost toast anyway, but hopefully we can save this country. Don't be a drive-by Republican. Be a real Republican. See you Monday.
You can't quit. And why not? I got fired. You can't fire me. Why not? He quit. Over? Did you say over? Nothing is over until we decide it is. Was it over with the German bomb Pearl Harbor? Hell no!
German? Forget it, he's over.
It ain't over now. Because when the going gets tough, the tough get going. Who's with me? Let's go! Come on!
Thanks. I needed that.